Hello and welcome to the Blazing Trails series. We are here today to dig into ConvertKit. But before we do that, I want to take a moment to talk about the 5I impact cycle that I personally use to evaluate each of the tools that I decide to implement within my tech stack and those that I help my clients implement as well. Now, mind you, if a client comes and they have a tool already that they've invested in, implemented, I do help them work with that, but there are certain tools that I do recommend and that I have actually partnered with. ConvertKit is one of those tools that I have partnered with. So I want to be upfront about that. The 5I impact cycle, if you're not familiar with it, is the framework that I use throughout everything that I do, whether I'm working on a new course with you, we're revamping a course and digging in. I even, as I mentioned, use it to evaluate the technology that I add to my tech stack. I like to do it because it provides me with the structure that I need to evaluate the tools themselves, as well as if they're going to meet my needs. So in this case, when thinking about ConvertKit, one of the tools that I was looking for is email collection. I have newsletters. I want to be able to communicate with my clients, so I needed to be able to collect emails from people. I also have waitlist. So if I'm setting up a brand new course, I want to roll it out prior to actually making it live while I'm in the building stage, so that way then I can potentially reach out to some of the enrollees to get some beta feedback. I like to have a list tool for that as well. So that was the first reason that I did it. And then my newsletter, I wanted to have an easy to use tool where I am just rolling it out to them. I want it to be something where they are truly going through and signing up for either a daily message or a weekly message. They are choosing that and then being able to update their information. And I wanted this all to be within a single tool, but I also wanted to consider a tool that can grow with me and expand along the way. And that's where my diving into this tool really brought that value. So the 5 I's are: I immerse myself, I integrate into it, I illuminate then once I have some idea of what the tool is about, and then once I've got the decision in mind, I can intensify it, which then ultimately is the decision, and is this tool actually going to ignite the process that I want? This on here I have for the course and I have for a revamp. I've just pulled together one for the tech space and evaluating that. So ultimately, within the Immerse stage, we deeply dig into this to evaluate the tool from all perspectives. This involves understanding its core features, the usability, the potential application for that particular tool, and then considering it in collaboration with the rest of my tech stack and keeping that in mind as well. I explore how this tool is used by others in the field. So I go and do that research. I do the Googling. I go out to YouTube and definitely check to see what others have done with it. Then it's looking at it from an integrate standpoint. So assessing how this tool actually integrates into the rest of my tech stack and the workflow. One thing that I really liked about ConvertKit was its partnership with WordPress, so that the content can actually embed right into there. I can connect using an API, and there's an additional way that you can do where it basically connects right to your domain, and I will definitely share that information with you. It's considering both the capability of it, the ease of that integration, as well as what is the learning curve associated with that. And then while you're evaluating the tool, to consider whether or not it aligns with the rest of my processes and whether it's going to add a complication or is it actually going to streamline something along the way. You are going to notice a bit of repetition because as I get deeper and deeper, I'm evaluating it at that deeper perspective as well. From there, it's the Illuminate stage. This is where I'm critically analyzing the strengths and the limitations of this tool. I personally do this by actually going into the tool and just giving it a try, seeing what I can do with it, pushing the envelope, seeing what the help desk support can do to help me as I try to incorporate it in, using their help documents, their trainings, their resources, whatever are out there. And I really start looking for what are the shortfalls of it, but also what are my specific needs that it's actually addressing, and what are my gaps in my tech stack that it can also address, or maybe fine-tune something along the way as well. Then we move on to the Intensify stage. During the Intensify stage, this is really about these three things right here, is the efficiency, productivity, and effectiveness of my operation as a business. So how does it impact this? How is it truly going to intensify that potential for the reduction in work, the reduction in steps, the reduction in the touches that people on my team need to make? I consider how the tool could actually change or improve the way that I do my work. Impact could have on the service delivery. So especially thinking about course experience design, how does it improve that process or improve the flow of things? And then the potential benefits for my particular clients or my audience that I'm working with, and how can they benefit from it? And finally, after I've done this, I've spent a couple days digging into the tool, experimenting with ConvertKit. I would say it took me a good week to get to the point where I knew this was going to be a tool that I wanted to commit to, and I was willing to reach out and create that partnership with them. 7 days is really quick when you're thinking about the investment of the time and you're in processes, because it's easy enough to swap out a tool, but redoing all of your processes, that is the piece that takes the time, because you have to transition your information to it. You have to revamp the SOPs. You need to retrain your people. It's all just part of that process. So if I'm going to implement a new tool into my tech stack, I definitely want to make sure that I'm considering all aspects of it. So now I've made my decision, and it is time to say yes or no. Is this actually going to ignite the work that I'm trying to do? At this point, is it bringing enough value to actually make the decision and move forward with it on my tech stack? This involves both weighing the pros and cons, considering that investment versus the expected return, determining if this tool actually is going to significantly contribute to achieving my business goals. So thinking forward even to 2024 at this point. And finally, again, as a course experience designer, is it going to improve the service offerings that I have, or in the case of my clients, that they're looking to have? These are the 5 perspectives that I go through and use to evaluate a tool. I have a rubric that I personally use to go through the process and just kind of check things off as I go, depending on the different tools. Some it's really crystal clear very fast, and others it does take a little bit to do a little bit of experimenting with it. And again, in this case, I did invest about 7 days of trial and error and seeing what I can do to push the envelope with this tool. And in the end, I was satisfied with it.